red die of death. 18, the straight roll.
Welcome to Gaming NBS Tabletop RPG Podcast. This is Sean coming to you Monday, September 16th, 2019.
This is Brett. I'm with Sean on that same day. Hey, how's it going?
It's my buddy Jeff at the beginning again.
I like that. I don't know what that was, but
That's
I like
what he
it.
does when he rolls dice, man.
I love it. He just clatter, 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 clatter. I love that guy. I gotta run a game with him.
Yeah.
With you on the other side of the screen.
He may be a Gamehole Con.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to meet him.
He may be a Gamehole Con. Hopefully I can get him to Gamehole Con and not in the Darth Vader outfit, but we'll see.
Well, if we do, we'll unmask him.
Well, yes, of course.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So, how was your weekend, man? Any gaming? Any cool stuff?
I did not game. I did clean out some of my games.
I saw that post on Twitter's.
Yeah, I literally have
like a box of stuff.
3 or 4 boxes. So yeah, people are yelling at me because I'm getting rid of one game.
Lords of Waterdeep. How could you?
And I love
that's my best Wayne. That's my best Wayne Humfleet impression.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love Lords of Waterdeep. It's one of my favorite board games, but I never play these things. So they gotta go. They gotta go. Look at it this way, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not playing a game, okay, you can keep it. That's cool. That's your prerogative. But at the same time, think about somebody else that could play that game.
I think it's a good approach. Now, I was thinking about this. I saw your post, and I thought, because you said, I'm hoarding. God damn it, that's what I'm doing. I look at a guy like Alex Cameron, right? He has all this stuff.
Oh my God.
That is a collection, though. He's purposely collecting. I have my Iron Crown Enterprises, Middle-earth role-playing stuff. I'm collecting that. I am collecting a couple different things. I've actually, because of the fact, after talking to Alex about collecting, God knows how many episodes back that was, I came home and realized I had a ton of shit that I really wasn't collecting. I had a old box set of Pendragon. I'm like, I don't know. No, I have the newer version. If I played Pendragon, I'd play this version of Pendragon. I do not need this. I'm going to sell this near mint condition. It was actually, the inside was mint. The box had a slight scratch on it. Anyway, get rid of that thing. Hey, I'm going to get rid of this. I had a copy of Dungeon World hardcover. I sent it to Phil Vecchione. Here you go, babe. You need this, take it. Right? I started looking at it like, what am I really collecting? Oh, this is what I'm collecting. Because Alex said to us, if you're I'll paraphrase, but basically a real collector has kind of a beginning and an end game. I will have all of X. I will have all of Y. Depending what you have from funding and space capacity, could be a lot of stuff, right? But you could go crazy and have a whole bunch of stuff, and then you do fall into what Sean would say, look like you're hoarding a bunch of crap you're never going to use there.
I'm contemplating. Okay, I haven't made the leap yet. And I kind of drew a line, but I'm actually contemplating looking at my first edition AD&D and the original books that I bought and getting rid of them.
If you are, let me know.
Okay, well, that's fine. Because it's got my 13-year-old handwriting in it.
Don't care.
And here's the reason, though. Here's the reason why. So people are like, oh my God, are you crazy?
But
this is what?
I was going to say but
this is the way I'm kind of looking at it is, if I don't play the game, that's one thing, right? So I don't play first edition AD&D. Will I? Who the hell knows? The last time I did it was at Gary Con. Chad Parrish ran a game, and the only reason I played it was because I signed up for the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I am not playing AD&D.
If you played it at a con, you don't need to own the books. You show up and play.
Right.
Ding.
And I bought the books on PDF. So when I was sitting at the table and went, oh shit, I need to look up the spells,
the electronic copy.
Got the first edition AD&D PDF, which is now available.
Correct. Yep.
Or I buy Azeric, whatever. But regardless, here's the thing. If I get rid of them, they don't erase the memories I had when I was 13.
Oh, that's absolutely legit. Absolutely legit.
So I would just assume, like Delta Green, when I just bought the box set, right?
Yep.
I physically had no place to put that thing, like on a shelf.
Oh, because you're full.
I have a cabinet.
Yep.
And it's full. Like, yes. Could I throw that upstairs on another shelf somewhere? Of course.
I've actually so I still play first edition AD&D often enough that warrants having multiple sets of the rule books because I hand them out at the table. So that's why I'd be interested. I am actually looking at, I may have to get a hold of Papa Swick because Joe I think he may have some gaps in his Vampire the Masquerade. I'm actually thinking about hacking through my collection because I have a lot of first, second, the old Vampire the Masquerade books. I'm like, I'm never going to play this again. I've drugged them around from house to house, apartment to apartment over the years because of the nostalgia and the fact that it was really cool and so on. But I'm like, what of these do I need to have? And will I ever play this again? And even if I were to dig it up and say, wow, this game was a lot of fun, we should try this. Do I even fucking care? Would I try this game? I don't know. So yeah, I'm looking at it much the same. I don't know if there's any value in them or if it'd be like, hey, somebody want this, take it. But point being,
right.
I'm coming around to your way of thinking. I even you gave me the Midgard setting. I started looking through it. I'm like, you know what? I may give this to Connor or AJ because they're new gamers. They love 5e and they're right in it. And it's boom. There's a thing, man. Whack. They could have that. Now, granted, they each have a copy of Avalon because, hey, they're my kids. But if they want a Midgard setting, I've got that. Might not be a bad idea. Passing it on to somebody who I know is going to get some use out of it.
I mean, to each their own, but that is the mentality and the frame of mind. And this isn't just me going through my RPG stuff. There's other things I'm trying to get rid of too. Like I don't need, I find myself going into my closet and looking at shirts that have been there for 2 years. I had to fill out a form
to see if I could still be his friend. It was pretty, he's going through a very intense,
I'm like, well,
intensive phase right now.
Do I use Brett? Do I interface with him? Well, I do. I do on a weekly basis. Only
weekly? And I sit in the only weekly column. I'm on the edge, people. I'm on the edge.
The thing is that I've got Brett I interact with more than some shirts that I own. So the shirts got to get chucked, right? So
I actually did a t-shirt page not that long ago with Rule. What the fuck do I have this for?
I mean, I got dress shirts. Maybe they don't fit. It's just a bunch of crap. I just need to and it's not, I call it downsizing, whatever. I don't know, but it's just something where it's like, why do I have this freaking thing? Why?
Yeah, no,
it's got to go. It's been here. I've never touched it in 5 years. It's got to go. It's got to go. Got to go.
You get in a mood. You get in a roll. Yeah, I get it.
Jesus. Anyways.
Well, I'll tell you, my weekend, I was up at my family's cabin in Upper Peninsula, Michigan, doing some deer hunting with my youngest son.
Did he see any?
He did. He had a great opportunity, but he was not sure of the shot. So he wasn't positive. He had the gun up, ready to go. Now, what Sean is alluding to is my son has had trouble in the woods actually seeing the deer.
Right.
It dawned on me.
That's why I bring this up because it was probably a year ago.
Oh, it was a year ago when he saw a big damn buck, a huge monster, and he couldn't see it. I'm like, how the hell can you not see it? It dawned on me after the fact, like, oh, he's looking for a certain color. When the deer in the woods in dappled light or overcast, slightly drizzly, is gray or sometimes dark gray, they blend in really well.
Right.
He was looking for this like deer brown thing to stand out and say, hi, I'm a deer. It didn't happen. This one, he saw the doe. It was perfect. He could have, if it had been me, it would be a dead animal. But he was unsure of the shot and he didn't take it. He was upset afterwards because he thought I'd be mad. I said, dude, that's the most adult thing that you could have done. You were unsure of your shot, and what did I teach you? Well, if I'm not sure, I shouldn't shoot. Bingo. Bravo. Proud of you, kid. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. Not supposed to wing in a prayer out there. Want to be humane, do the thing. So that was cool. So I didn't get any gaming in, but it was in the process, I was up in the UP, and both my parents were up there. My mother's the one who got me into reading The Hobbit. I was one of the first people I ever ran games for. And AJ brought a copy of my book to show Grandma. And that was awesome to see my mother gushing about the fact that I wrote a book. She thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
Well, rightfully so.
Yeah. So I got lots of mama hugs. That was neat. So
you should give her copies and have her take it to the local meetups and shop it around. Like, look what my son did. Want to buy a copy?
My mother has early Alzheimer's. It's might not. It's not a good idea to give her extras. Speaking of giving people clutter, that wouldn't. I appreciate the fact that she loves it. But.
Yes, of course.
All right. So, hey, man, let's do a show here. Let's talk. What do we got? Announcements. Did you do your unboxing? The Master Nyarlathotep.
I did Well, I did, but I didn't edit the first. There's a part of the beginning where it's like, oh, I needed to take that out, and I didn't, and it's a huge file to render. So I uploaded it to YouTube, and I think I did it okay within YouTube, but I don't know if it's been updated. So it should be, but I got to check to see if the link actually works. Does the link work?
Let me check.
Yeah. And so I did an unboxing of the massive Nyarlathotep gamer prop set by the HP Lovecraft Society. I know there's other ones that are out there, but I did this one, and it was pretty interesting. Not a lot of...
It's running. I see it.
Yeah. Is it start off with me talking right away?
I've got it muted so I don't hear it on the top of anything else. But it's 22.05. 22 minutes.
But
there's a lot of shit in there, dude.
There is a lot of stuff in there. And frankly, it's probably a little redundant. Like, okay, how many pieces of paper could you possibly look at? But anyways, it is pretty crazy. I got to get that to the table tomorrow night, actually.
Very cool.
Yeah. I did also an unboxing, which will be going up relatively soon, of the Savage Worlds Adventurers Edition. I get, what is it? Shoot. It's a box, kind of the big box. I don't know what it's called, but I went on a Kickstarter and got all kinds of stuff, but it's the box with all the bennies, the action deck, bookmarks, the GM screen, the adventure creation guide. So I'll do that. That's already, I kind of filmed it, and I'll upload that, and everybody can take a look at it and see what comes in that thing. Sweet. Yes.
I should call out that Gamehole Con, their badge pre-reg ends October 1st. So if you're going to get in on that, you need to get that done, because today is recording of September 16th. You got less than a month to get your badges. Otherwise, at the door prices tend to be a wee bit higher, people. So get her done. And speaking of course, evercon.org, get your early badges there. And it's, again, a discounted rate. So that's always handy. Cool, man. I like those unboxings. Those are kind of cool. I should do one. I keep saying I'm going to do one because I have the DCC Lankmar box set. I should do that. And I got the second box that came. I completely forgot that I also got a bunch of extra modules. So this other box showed up the other day. I'm like, holy fuck, these are pretty cool. So I just got to do it. I'm a slack ass, so I just need to make it happen.
If you do it, send it over and I'll put it on our YouTube.
Yeah, well, that's what I would do. Yeah. I don't know what the hell to do with it. Like, look, I made a video, Sean, make magic. I got nothing. So if I'm not sitting in a tree this weekend, because our tree season opens, I'll do that instead.
Sounds like a plan.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, let's random encounters. All
right. Random encounter. Voicemails, emails, comments from social media. Short one to kick off things.
Yeah, John M. wrote in and said, longtime listener here. I really enjoy your podcast. However, Brett, you ruined me forever. Now I must play Tomb of Horrors in space. So, John, I made that up when I said that. Yeah. And after the fact, I wrote down a note, Tomb of Horrors in space. And I have a note of like, how do I want to run this? Where am I going to do it? What system will I use? Yeah, I kind of want to do that now. It's so Space Hulky. I'm tempted to do it as a Space Hulk game. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you, John.
And it doesn't need to make sense.
No, it doesn't, because it's fucking Tomb of Horrors, man. Y'all gonna die. Over to you, sir. Next.
All right. Jason from the cities responds to the Brettmeister. Longer email this time. Feel free to paraphrase.
Yeah, we don't paraphrase around here, Jason.
So verbatim.
You better write good.
As a lawyer, he should appreciate that.
You should, absolutely.
In your last episode, Brett referenced my running the Lost City at Gamehole Con, and that some people were wondering how to run longer mods in a convention setting. I also ran Isle of Dread for a convention slot for adults and kids, and I felt it was similarly successful. So in case it's helpful, here's my advice for running larger modules in a limited time slot. First, accept the fact the group will not explore the entirety of the module. I tell my players that at the start of the game in case somebody wants to bail. It hasn't happened yet. The bailing part, I'm guessing. Second, pick some climatic points in the adventure to provide a satisfactory conclusion. The group should be heading towards one of those by the third hour. Older school mods tend to have many such opportunities, as opposed to new adventures that focus on a final set piece battle with the BBEG. Third, provide liberal access to information. NPCs should be forthcoming with details and or side quests so that the PCs have a goal. When in doubt, they find a treasure map left by previous explorers. Whether it actually leads to treasure is less important than whether it leads to more fun. I've never had players complain about a shortcut, especially if the alternative means spending hours of real time wandering around to find the adventure. Fourth, do not waste time with decision paralysis. I give a convention group 5 minutes or so to discuss. If they have not reached a decision by then, I point to a random player or the person who has had the least spotlight, and that person makes the decision for everybody.
I like it.
Bam, bam, bam. Fifth, provide a mapping mechanism for location-based adventures so players do not spend time wandering in circles. I made a gigantic laminated map for Isle of Dread that the players could write on with dry erase markers. For Lost City, we used a pad of big checkered paper, and I let the players map, with generous help from me. We then posted maps of the various levels on a nearby wall as they descended further into the dungeon. Finally, feel free to make slight modifications that are in the spirit of the mod, but lead to better play. Most old school mods allow for this flexibility. The only time anyone ever complained about one of my modifications was an AL game. Just saying. Heyo. Shout out to AL. Heyo. The pacing of these games could not have been better even if I had scripted the entire thing, and I credit that to my amazing players. My adult table for Isle of Dread made it to the central location and defeated the bad guys right before we had to wrap. My Lost City group accidentally allied with an evil cult, and after realizing this, they asked me to play tribute to the cult's leader, leading to an exciting confrontation. The Isle of Dread game I ran for kids ended when they rescued some Tanarone children from an encampment of evil humanoids. None of these groups explored more than half of the adventure, but everyone seemed to have a great time. If people are jonesing for more and your schedule allows, there's nothing wrong with running the rest off grid. Hope that's helpful. Looking forward to seeing you guys at the con. Jason.
Those are cool pointers, man. Thank you, Jason.
Bam, 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 bam.
I love one of the things that I read this and listening to you say it is it's pacing. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. And Jason knows the adventures well enough, where to cut, where to move, where to groove, how to change, and keep things flowing. Right. So yeah. I think there's a level of familiarity with this. This is kind of what you and I talked about last time. Has a level of familiarity with it that allows him to do things on the fly that help make this happen.
He hasn't run Tomb of Horrors in a 3D setting yet, though.
Not yet.
Oh, you just magically appear over in this section of the Tomb of Horrors. There's going to be so much paralysis analysis in that game.
Oh, yeah.
So
unless you get that one dude who's played it before. Oh, God, don't touch. Oh, Jesus, why'd you touch that?
It's going to be fun.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Very good stuff, man. All right. We got an email from Mithron of the Velvet Shade. Greetings, BNS. I want to thank you for this wonderful podcast. Your insights into the various aspects of gaming, and not just to focus on one system or another, is a delight to listen to. It often inspires new ideas for me to bring to my table, and sometimes reminds me of things I used to do, but I've gotten lazy about. Dude, that is super, super nice of you. Thank you very much. Thank you. In regards to art and gaming, you've gotten a lot of feedback already. I tend to agree with the majority of the comments. Excuse me. Although a particular art piece never inspired me to buy a game on its own, bad art has kept me away from a few. We'll have our favorite artists and pieces, and mine were the chess series on the covers of Dragon Magazine by Ben Bovias. Those are awesome. Those are very, very good. I think another person who brought this to our attention, total aside here, was Stefan Dragonspawn brought those up, I believe. Those are some beautiful art pieces. Anyway, Mithron continues. I was heavily into chess at the time. To see these pieces come to life, battling it out on the board made the game much more exciting to play. Might have to be a separate topic, but there was no mention of all the comic strips that play a part in the artistic end of gaming. Knights of the Dinner Table, although not fantastic art, as Jolly himself would admit, is unparalleled in its storytelling. While such Dragon Magazine staples as Wormy, What's New with Phil and Dixie, Snarf Quest, and others brought both a lighter side to the game and exposed aspects that we all thought were unique to our tables, only to find that we all shared in the cult of strange personalities and quirks. Both Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder have released full comic book series, bringing to life their own iconic characters, as have Shadowrun and others. We won't get into superhero games comics, as they all have their own podcast. Thank you once again. You're a joy to listen to while I drive around town. I hope someday my schedule opens up to see you at one of the cons. David F. Balog, thank you for the pronunciation, a.k.a. Mithron of the Velvet Shade. David, that's awesome, man. I think you were right. We did not talk about the cartoon components of it or the comic aspects. Those are fun. And there's a piece you called out in there, which I think is super cool, is, the joke. They're like, oh, my God, this is at my table. And you realized, wow, I'm sharing this. Oh, my God, this is funny to me with thousands of other gamers. We all shared the same weirdness of the hobby. So that's a very cool point. So thank you for calling that out. Didn't even think about that as we talked about art and gaming. Very, very cool. That's something that the eye of the beholder. They got Phil Foglio do the Phil and Dixie stuff, and they never even asked Elmore about Snarf Quest. They had him. They could have asked him. Oh well.
What are you gonna do?
Moving on.
Thanks, Mithron of the Velvet Shade.
Absolutely.
Mithron of the Velvet Shade. Zach Corbin. He comments on art and RPGs. Very interesting conversation, guys. Got me thinking about my own influences in history with RPG art. The first cover that I remember having my attention was the Elmore Redbox cover. I saw that iconic image and just about lost my adolescent mind. Brahms' Dark Sun work, both the color and black and white stuff, has remained a favorite as well. I'm not sure if there is another artist so intrinsically connected to a campaign setting for me. I still want to play in that world all these years later. Mutant Year Zero and Shadowrun are some examples of non-TSR/WotC games with great art direction that really convey what the game is about. On a side note, how much do you all consider layout to contribute to the art of an RPG product? I think that it straddles a middle ground between usability and art. For example, pics of a scene that relates to the rules/topic being discussed in the text. Another great show, guys. It's the kind of content that keeps me coming back for more.
Well, we did actually talk about that just recently. So, Zach, you might be an episode or two behind, but somebody else had written in and talked about White Wolf, how they had descriptive art that went with some of the text, like in the combat section of the werewolf book, especially. Yeah, that stuff is awesome. We mentioned it there. It's really, really cool. And I think you hit a good point. If you have really good art, but really shitty layout, that doesn't help.
Well,
because when you're reading a chapter and you see art, you're expecting that art to be evocative of what's being discussed, right? I want it to be connected in some way.
Well, even I guess it's part of the layout is like the borders of the pages and then the numeration of the pages. Certain, like if there's a break, if there's something that separates one area from the next. Here's an example. Imagine one of your books in Microsoft Word format.
Oh, yeah. Make you want to cry.
Oh, my God.
It may be easy to read, but sure wouldn't be pleasurable. All right. I was really happy with what we did with like the Streets of Avalon. I'll toot my own horn there in that space. But the way we did the layout and the way it looked, we tried to like have little bits and things, and the way the sidebars are consistent and so forth. That's all critical. Yeah,
I think there is a certain creative piece that goes into that, whether you want to define that as art or not. I can imagine good layout artists, I guess, would be maybe what they're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Would really, they really make stuff pop. I wish I knew Illustrator better. Or is
one of
it
the
not
things
really
that actually, to that point, one of the things that actually pissed my group and I off quite a PageMaker. Yeah,
I think
about the when they did Vampire the Requiem, when Vampire came back after White Wolf blew up the world, they came back with Vampire Requiem and all that stuff. The font and colors they chose, we hated the font. Within it, it was so difficult to tell what letter was what. In some cases for us, we were just maybe a little grognardy approach, but just did not like the font. It just wasn't pleasing to read. As goofy as that is, that's a piece of the setting, right?
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say setting. It's a piece of the art, the presentation of the book, the whole thing. You're trying to make it this wonderful feast for your eyes, where you're getting data and being entertained while you're reading it. I mean, Ken Haidt has said this before. An RPG book it is an instruction manual. It is supposed to be graphically pleasing, entertaining. It serves 1,000 masters all in one page, and it's so hard to get it done right, or it'll sing. And the layout person who does that, it can really help.
And help me out, Ken Haidt. Why did he go with 3 columns?
Oh,
why
that's
does Pilgrim Press do
I don't
that?
know why they do that.
Ken, seriously, man, do you have talk to Simon? Like what? I know you got pull.
Yeah, I think they hate people.
Right. They hate e-readers for sure.
Oh, I know people who have actually, like, they pick up the book and go, I can't, this is just so, yeah, yuck.
I hope they re-release them.
I remember the D&D 3rd edition when it came out with like the slight lines underneath everything. Remember that one?
Yes.
People hated that too.
Yeah.
Some of that shit is, those choices in layout will turn you off.
Yes.
And it's a subtle art.
Yes.
That will hit you upside the head like a wet fish if it's done poorly.
Wet or dry.
Yeah, either way, fish in the face, not so good. Nobody likes it. No one likes that.
I don't like fish up beside my face.
No, especially when you're not expecting it.
Right. And big fish too.
Yeah, like a big tuna, huge.
Yeah. No.
All right. Thanks, man.
I feel like I want to go fishing.
Yeah, I kind of do actually.
Let's go on Lake
Get the
Michigan.
fly rod out. All right, Zach, thanks.
Do you know how to fly fish?
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, but I like doing it.
That looks peaceful to me.
It is actually. It's one of the very few things that is incredibly frustrating, takes a very long time to master, and I don't mind.
Right, that's
I honestly don't mind. It's like archery. I mean, is it easier to use a crossbow or a rifle or whatever? Yes. Even compound bow and longbow that I shoot, they're tough.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I tweaked my wrist at the wrong time, just shortly after the release. Yeah, that's why the arrow went out in the cornfield. Son of a gun. There's something fun about that. Anyway.
So if you fly fish and you
we'll start this new podcast. And actually, if you're into fly fishing, I strongly suggest April Volke's fly fishing podcast on The Meat Eater. Go over there.
Don't say we didn't provide any value this episode.
Exactly.
All right. Matt V comments on genre blending.
Mm-hmm.
All my favorite settings are genre blends. Oh boy, he's going to go into a list. Ready? Hold on.
Well, the thing that we're going to find out, I'll bet you, is a bunch of these are the same ones we like. Anyway, keep going.
Deadlands. Horror, Western, fantasy, steampunk, alternative history.
Check.
Shadowrun. Fantasy, cyberpunk, alternative history.
Check again.
Fallout. Atom punk, post-apocalyptic, alternative history.
Oh, I should about that one.
Dark Sun, Athos. Post-apocalyptic high fantasy. I also enjoy, though not my favorites, BioShock, biopunk and diesel punk alternative history. I'm seeing a theme here.
Alternative history.
Spelljammer, steampunk, high fantasy, space opera. I know mechanically it sucks, but I love the setting. Refs. Everything.
Yeah, it does. It totally does. Everything's in there. Vampires, mega damage. It's got it all.
Mega damage. Deadlands, Hell on Earth, futuristic fantasy horror. Knights, Black Agents, spy, a vampire thriller.
There you go.
My exception settings are Elder Scrolls, fantasy. Eberron, although that one's somewhat arguable.
Somewhat? Matt, that's totally a mashup, dude.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
It has trains?
Yeah.
Moving on.
Warhammer, also somewhat arguable. Lots of tech here.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
My homebrew setting I ran in for a long time was a steampunk post-apocalyptic fantasy. Now I'm too lazy and busy adulting to keep up with that much work. So all in all, I'm in the genre blending makes great settings camp. Nearly everything I'm going to be really excited about will fall somewhere on that spectrum.
I think the biggest thing that Sean and I took away from our discussion on that was it's totally fine as long as it's upfront and everyone understands it. Right? I think when people go, is when you got chocolate in my peanut butter happens and they go, I'm allergic to peanut butter, you dick. Or or something, but it's when, Barrier Peaks, I had no idea I was going to do this. This was Greyhawk. It was D&D for 6 months, and now there's spaceships. The shock.
Spoilers!
The shock can kill you. Good stuff, though, man. Thank you very much. And I think you're correct, Matt V. A lot of some of the coolest settings and fun stuff we have when we think about it, it's blending stuff together.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
All right, Corey Welch got back to us about Jerry Steffek's Memorial Gaming event. The Jerry Steffek Memorial Crawl for the Cure. We'll have a link in the show notes. It's crawlforthecure.net. On December 2018, the gaming community tragically lost a good friend, Jerry Steffek. Lost Jerry to cancer. Jerry was an avid gamer, history buff, reenactor, and father. His love of his friends and hobbies were always evident in his words and actions. Jerry's friends in the Midwest would like to do some good works in his name and raise money for cancer research and patient assistance. Enter the Crawl for the Cure at Game Hole 7. Hell yeah. Friday, November 1st. That's right. Friday, November 1st, 2019, from 9 a.m. till 7 p.m., we're running Dave Beatty's awesome Carnival of the Damned, zero-level funnel, tournament style to raise loot. All proceeds going to the American Cancer Society. 8 seats at the table with zero-level characters. Your donation of $4 gives you a collectible pass to join the fun. Whenever there's a spot at the table, the judge will be there. Is a steady flow of souls into the beyond. Become a king or queen of the carnival by running your zero level against the chaos within the carnival. Players' characters with the most survived encounters win one of the awesome prizes, the Goodman Games foil Egyptian Lich cover rulebook. That's a damn good-looking book, folks. An original piece of artwork from the Carnival of the Damned, signed copies of the masterpiece by Dave Beatty of Stiff Whiskers Press, and a John Marr signed Sunken City Omnibus from Purple Sorcerer Games. Getting patient? In line? Need a fix? Maybe allowing you to survive the next bloody encounter? Make an offering to the cause and barter with the judge to create some havoc to save your bacon. Your charity dollars will become incredible stories for years to come. Have some time between games? Come out and help shape the ruin. Can't make Game Hole? We'll be streaming the event on Twitch TV, DCC Mayhem channel, and taking your donations online so you too can put your mark on the carnival. Goodman Games and Purple Sorcerer Games will be providing PDFs of their excellent adventures to raffle hourly to lucky donors. See the full prize list on the website. Will you be at Game Hole Con 7? Would you like to donate an hour of volunteer time to a great cause? We'd love to have some help seating players, coordinating donations for the game effects. If you'd like to collect some good karma for a great cause, please contact us. Thank you. So, help us celebrate Jerry Steffek's love for gaming. Do some good in his name. Visit us at crawlforthecure.net for more details. Questions, you'd like to help us donate an hour to our honorable campaign, you can contact Jerry Scrawl for the Cure at gmail.com. We'll have all this in our show notes, folks. Thank you all. And on behalf of all the friends of Jerry and everything, we'd look forward to spreading the good and awesomeness at Game Hole Con 7. And Corey Welch, man, this is awesome. And kudos to you for helping to pull this all together. And job well done. I hope we can do some good here. So very cool stuff.
Yeah, thanks for doing that, Corey. I'm gonna think of something for that too. So yeah, you
gotta do something.
Yeah. So make sure you check that out. Good fun and for a good cause. Voicemail next for DM Kojo.
Lay it on me, Kojo.
Hey guys, Kojo here. Hey, I heard your next episode's about character sheets, and I didn't know if I was getting this in on time, but just wanted to give a shout out for a few character sheets that I really enjoy. For me, a great character sheet is one that helps you understand how to run your character. That can be very useful. The newer Mothership sci-fi RPG has a great character sheet that walks you through character creation and all your derived statistics and things like that. Really like that one that they've got. Dungeon Crawl Classics has got some character sheets out there that are character class specific, so has specific details in the space for your special abilities depending on which class you're playing. If you use the purplesorcerer.com website, you can get those pre-generated characters out of that if you want, and it puts all that information in there as well. So a couple character sheets I really enjoy there. I've always liked the Fantasy Flight Star Wars character sheets as well. Their layout, I think, is great, and the way you keep track of your skill levels, I think, works really well. And shout out old school to the old FASA Star Trek. Loved that life path kind of generation system where you walked your character through the different phases of their career and modified your skills and improved your skills as you went. So I always loved that character sheet as well. I don't know if it was that much functionality or just nostalgia for the character creation system, but I did like that one too. All right. Keep up the great work, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks for calling in, Kojo. Very good points.
And
Boy,
damn timely.
that Star Trek FASA, man. I played the snot out of that game when I was younger, and it's been a while since I've looked at the character sheet.
Very cool.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, we should probably go into the main topic.
Yeah, what the hell? That was a good segue. Thank you.
What are we talking about, Brett?
We're going to talk about character sheets. Judge Brandon wrote in and gave us this one. I'm not sure if you've talked about it in the past, but I think the topic of character sheets would be a good subject. As the designer and longtime gamer, I'm very interested. When I started, we all used graph paper to make characters, but now there's so many options, from business card size play sheets for games like DCC, huge folios with spaces for everything you can think of. I tend towards a more minimalist approach usually, but I've seen some more complicated sheets that also appeal to me. The sheet for Mothership RPG that shows you how to make a character is pretty cool. Also, do you guys write the modifier or the stat larger? Well, the box sizes are different. This causes many debates in my groups. So I'll tell you, man, one of the things that I just saw this, Tim DeShane posted this up on Twitter. He was running a 5e game, and the character sheet was giving the new players, he was playing with new players, some trouble, because you're having a hard time tracking what modified what. And I think it's interesting when you look at character sheets, many of us old hands, we look, yes. So you add the strength plus the stat. Oh, it's one of those. Okay, off we go. Roll a die. Done. But if a character sheet is done really well, you have less looking up in the book. Its gameplay is faster, right? If it shows you where things are, the modifiers are clearly identified, all that stuff. A character sheet can be this wonderful tool to help you make decisions at the table. Even if you're playing really old school without a huge list of skills and so forth, a good character sheet helps tell you what you can do, right? I think there's some serious power in having a well-designed character sheet. You with me?
Brett, we call that UI/UX.
Yeah, see, I'm infrastructure. I want a hard copy of something.
That's user interface and user experience.
Yeah, that's application talk. I don't.
That's so that when you get engineers designing the interface of something and you go, ooh, this is really ridiculous. I can't navigate or find what I need.
Yeah, dude, most of the people work for me like Unix, Linux guys. So they're looking at it. They're like, can I just have a green screen? Can I?
Command line.
A command line.
Yeah.
But again, that's old school, right? Joking. Jokes aside, even my better Cisco guys are still using GUI and stuff now. But
yeah, which is kind of poo-poo because
it is.
Bring on the Cisco iOS, man.
But anyway,
command line.
Talking shop here. What are we doing? Sean, do you have a favorite character sheet? Like, hey, I played X game and I really liked this character sheet. If you thought of that?
Brett, I knew you were going to ask me that question.
Did you?
I do. I knew you were going to ask me that question.
So do you have an answer, or is the answer, it depends?
Well, it has to depend because I don't know what game I'm playing.
Okay, but seriously though, do you have like, hey, when I'm playing D&D, I like this version of the character sheet. I like the Star Wars character sheet, like Kojo said. Is there one that like, hey, that's a really cool sheet? I always like it. Filling it out.
I do have kind of. Part of it may be just plain old nostalgia, but I do like the old yellow AD&D character sheets.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Dyson Logos, I believe, did I got to find a link to it, a 5e version of those.
Well, I've used the 5e version, and I don't know if Dyson did it or not, but I found it on Reddit.
Yeah, I found it on Dyson's website.
Okay.
But anyway, point is like 3-4 pages. It's a folio.
Yeah,
you print the whole thing out. It's pretty fucking cool.
You gotta print it on yellow paper.
Oh, you do. It is so cool. It's wicked cool.
I have not. I've printed it on white paper.
It's wicked cool.
But it's cool. So for those of you that don't know what we're referencing, and for those of you that are like, I know what it is, of course, okay. When you bought the character sheets for first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and they came out with the Earl Otis, like the characters on the front?
Yeah, but all of them, even the basic, I shouldn't say basic, but your D&D versus AD&D, they were all printed on this wonderful, impossible to photocopy color.
Well, so there were ones that were green.
Yes, try to photocopy that son of a gun. You get a flat black character sheet, no matter how good a Xerox machine you had.
But the gold ones, the way they were done is they had a character sheet for each different class, although they lumped a couple together, like illusionist, magic user were together.
Mm-hmm.
I think Druid and Ranger.
Druid Ranger, something like that.
Yeah, Druid Cleric or Druid Ranger.
Yep.
And then you'd have Fighter, Paladin.
So you say you like those. Is it pure nostalgia, or did you like the amount of data on it? Because I know, to talk to like what Judge Brandon is talking about here, some minimalist is kind of cool, right?
Yeah, like basic, like.
Yeah, but I mean, there used to be on the first edition character sheet, like there was on the bottom of the back page was your character's will. Ragnar the Mighty, leave all my belongings to, and we would always put my next player character.
Yeah, of course,
because that was the only way, because it was legit. It was on the card.
That's right.
But did you like those because, are you just thinking with a nostalgia candle burning brightly, or when you think about character sheets that have been the most effective to you, do you like your character sheet? You know, if you're going to play a game, regardless of what it is, you want a shit ton of data on it. Do you want it pared down to bare bones basic? What do you like?
Well, the criteria is it varies, but I think there's a basic. You got to be able to find out you got to find stuff on your sheet that is pertinent to what you're dealing with. So if you are a caster in a fantasy game and you have spells that are at your disposal, I want to be able to find my spells, and I want to be able to find out if there's a save, what the save is, or what the DC is for the opponent, whatever that is. It's got to be easily navigated and easily referenced.
So from a rules perspective, you want to make sure that how much of a thing do I get? What number do I have to roll to obtain a thing, right? So static numbers, things that the game master mechanically is going to want from me or that I want to be able to implement, right? So if I have a bonus to hit with this longsword, I want a list there that says this longsword has a +5 to hit and +2 on damage or whatever. I want that carved out right there.
And I've run into so many character sheets that don't. They're like, oh, you've got a modifier for strength, you've got a modifier for magic, and then that's like it. But then
they don't run the calculus for you. They expect you to add it every time you swing your sword,
which is fine. I don't have a problem necessarily with that. Although I do like this box is a 1, this box has a little, then it has a little plus, and then the next box has a 2, and then the next box has a 3. But typically you'll have a feat that modifies that even further. And then you've got this weird scratchy in onto the side thing that kind of pisses me off. And then I got to remember, like, okay, I got to take into consideration that feat or whatever.
Well, the cool things about like your old school ones is if you had a longsword, it was +1, +2 against fire creatures. You wrote down, this is +1, +2 versus fire creatures. And you knew it's a sword. So it's strength plus his die roll plus that thing, and that's it.
Right.
Math is pretty simple.
Yeah.
No feats, no other pieces.
Right. Agreed.
And now that some of the game systems, the more modifiers and the more changes, enhancements or dehancements, if you're knocking you have to be able to track all that stuff and to be able to have it quickly, readily available to you. So this sword or this action I want to take, boom, I know what I have to add to my die roll or whatever.
But going back to your question, Brett, because I never answered your question.
I didn't, my bad, sorry.
I liked them probably more for nostalgia purposes, but although I did kind of appreciate the layout, because it would have a combat section,
Yes.
right? It had, and under the combat section had the weapon, and then it had, I think, weapon speed. It had hit points, armor class. I think it had move,
Yeah.
right? The little boot.
Yep.
And so then you had the saving throws in one area, and then you had the abilities in another area, and then you had some other things. And then the thieves' abilities would be in another area. Mm-hmm. So there's, I think many character sheets group things appropriately, but if I were more illustrator savvy, I think I would be able to put together some character sheets that would be quite cool. But the tricky thing is I would be like, okay, I'm going to put all these notes in there and there are going to be these references and everybody will be able to really use this and it'll be super awesome. And then somebody will get in and say, there's too much info. There's too much stuff.
So one of the things that was interesting that I liked, so I'm going to throw a few things out and they'll come back at it. So I actually liked, from a character sheet perspective, I like the old World of Darkness character sheets. It was one page. Sometimes you get a 2, 3 if you get all the extra one. But the actual page itself, across the bottom, it said, when you make your character, you have 7 points your primary, like nine dots, 7 dots, 3 dots. You had a primary, secondary, and tertiary. It told you how to make the character on the sheet. Now you had to look up certain things. It looked like, which merits or flaws do I choose? What powers do I have? But it told you on the sheet how to make him. You were coloring in dots. It told you what to do. You chose them. When you had to roll something, it was dexterity plus, or strength plus brawl, dexterity plus melee, whatever it was. You looked at the 2 dots, you grabbed that handful of dice, and you rolled. It was very, very simple. Many of the players that I had at the time, whether you like the mechanic or not, it was a D10 die pool. Give me a willpower roll. Fuck, I got 4 willpower. Pick up the dice and go. You looked at that sheet, and that's what you needed. The referencing we did to the book was, I have a power written down here that's a thaumaturgy level 5. I have this power. Fuck, what does that do? You had to look up that power. If I had, flesh to stone, flesh of marble, or I had meld with stone, or gaseous form, whatever. That you'd have to look up to get noodly. But otherwise, the day-to-day stuff, I want to climb that fence. Dex plus this, strength plus that. Done. Move on. What's the difficulty? Difficulty 7. Clack, 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 clack. I got 4 7s. Good. You're over the wall, or whatever the case was. You want to shoot somebody? Dexterity, firearms, done. How much damage does that do? Roll that. Boom. That's it. The character sheet had that on it. It was very simple. And I love that aspect of it. And that was actually one of the things that allowed me to play quickly. Because someone would say, how do I do that? And anyone at the table could say, add those 2 things. And very rapidly, the players would say, what do I add? What 2 things equal this driving? Dex plus drive. Thank you. Oh, geez. I'm trying to do some research in this library. Give me a wits plus occult. Oh, cool. I'll do that. Yeah. Let me see your character. Yeah, this makes sense. Let's add those 2 together. It was very easy to manipulate. I also really liked Middle-earth role-playing in the Rollmaster system. One of the reasons being is that you had the Middle-earth one anyway. You had these little boxes you checked. You would get a 5% for each box. So if you had 5 boxes in 2-handed halberds or whatever you have, it'd be 5, 10, 15. That goes here. That equals 15. My strength modifier goes here. You just add it across. And then the far right-hand side, it said 50%. That was it. Or your total modifier. It was very straight across the thing. You just looked down. Anytime you made a change, ratchet it across, easy math. Very, very right there on the sheet. Now, and Rollmaster is not simple by any means. And I think if games like 5e or Pathfinder had a similar approach where like, look, just line this shit out. It might work better. I don't know. I would have to take a look at that. I also really like the Dungeons and Dragons, like you said, the old green sheet, your BX type sheet. It's 2 pages. I'm looking at it right now. Player's name, character name, alignment, class level, armor class, hit points, character sketch or symbol up in the upper right-hand corner, dungeon master name. You have your saving throws, abilities, adjustments, special abilities, and a to-hit chart on the front. 90% of what you're going to do is right there. The second page, magic items, normal items, notes, money, treasure, experience, and how much you need for next level. That's it. There were no skills, right? Nothing to really map across and no need to do that. So when you look at that sheet, like, what can I do? I want to try to lift that boulder. Can I use my strength to lift the boulder? I'm really strong. Yes. Says, Tim DeShane, you're the game master. Yes. Yep. Says Tim, give me a roll. Add that. Sounds good. Get a 15 or higher. Boom. You picked it up and moved. There's something really cool about that. Having a game where the character sheet contains so much power in the ability to just make the game move without having to look up every bloody feat or movement rule or blah, 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 especially for theater of mind stuff. And I tell you, one of the nicer things about those as well, to me, Sean, do you remember making your own character sheets because you didn't want to buy them?
Yep.
I honestly think, I don't know if it's just me. I don't do that anymore. And I don't know if it's because the games I'm playing. When you said that about if you had better Photoshop skills or layout skill, I wonder if that's a skill set that gamers don't have, or we think, oh, I can't do it because it's not pretty enough. Oh, I can't do it because it's not, I could go out and find Dyson Logos sheet. I could go find this other person sheet. I should just go look for a cool character sheet. At the end of the day, the character sheet needs to have everything that you as a player need to have to be effective, right?
Oh, well, that'd be the goal.
So I would say,
although I know a lot of people that can't navigate a character sheet to save their lives.
I believe, honestly, that when I built my own character sheets, I learned a shit ton more about the game than I did otherwise. Because you had to build it. It's like, do you respect your vehicle? Well, yeah. You ever change your own oil? Well, I mean, no. Do you check your air pressure? Well, if you learn how to take something apart and build it, you tend to have more respect for it. Anyway, that's just what you said there got me thinking. I love the simplicity of some of those, and I wonder if I should start making my own character sheets. Even if they're not pretty, as long as they're effective for me, and someone goes, God, that's an ugly looking sheet. Go to hell. It helps me run my character. I mean, what do you care? If you build your sheet in Excel, and that's the easiest way for you to do the math, because you can you run the macros, ding, I add these things, that's my bonus right there. Maybe that's the way for you to do it in 5e. If that helps you get everything loaded up, or Pathfinder, whatever. Well, shit, in Pathfinder, just buy a lone wolf system because you won't be able to make a character, quote unquote, properly without it. But anyway, sorry, totally tangented off there. But yeah, anyway, what do you think? Are you going to go make a character sheet? Do you think you should do that? You mentioned that now in my head. Now I'm kind of fixated on it, but.
I would like to. I have an iPad with the iPen still.
Oh, nice.
And I have a app that would be probably, if I learned it well enough, right, it'd be really easy to come up with a sheet that would be pretty cool. Like you can draw shapes and it would be pretty decent. It's actually used for sketching, and then if you're on their email list, they'll actually show you like, hey, how to design things, or how to use it to do this, or how to use it to do that. From anything from literally art sketches to designs, like so. And I could maybe I'll put a link in the show note. I think it's Concepts, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, I do think that there is a fine balance between aesthetics and art, because I think there was one character sheet that we
aesthetics
put in,
and art, or aesthetics and usability. You're talking about
usability, and yes, I didn't finish my thought. Aesthetics, art, and the usability piece of it, and the mechanics. Yeah, and there was one character sheet that we had put in die roll a while ago where it was really cool. Like it was cool. Like the abilities kind of went in a half circle, and then the whole kind of sheet was made up of a character sketch.
Yeah. Tony DiTerlizzi had a series of D&D character sheets ages back that I remember downloading because he had them up for free on his website. They were just so cool looking.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there is a piece of our hobby that could be really something else. Now, on the flip side, I've gone to Gary Con and Tom, I forgot Tom's last name. He used to be on Google Plus, but he came and showed up at the table. I think it was Jen Brinkman's game, actually, where I met him. DCC character, 0-level character on the size character sheet of a business card.
Yeah, you could totally do that.
The whole character on one side of the business card. I think it was one side. But yeah, talk about minimalistic.
Yeah. There's something cool about that and I could see, wow, that was neat at a con. I wouldn't want to play a DCC campaign like that.
No.
Personally. But I'll tell you one of the things that DCC brought back because their class is race, right? So you have cleric, dwarf, elf, halfling, thief, warrior, and wizard. They each have their own character sheet. And I think that's really kind of cool because my buddy Nick does this. Every time I run a game, he gets the standard character sheet. He makes his character. He plays a session or two. And then by second or third session, he shows up with a custom character sheet because he's like, okay, I understand the game system now. I know what roles we're calling for. I understand what's supposed to happen here. So he rebuilds it. He loves doing this stuff in Photoshop, or I can't remember what the hell tool he uses, but he cranks out a new one specifically for each character that he's running. So if he's running a sorceress, and then the next one is a warrior, he doesn't just take it and use the same one. No, it's completely retooled every time. He builds a character sheet folio for each character. He loves doing it. And not only because he likes the aesthetic, the creation of it, and the art that he can put into it, but he likes to have it because it helps him track all the PC rules he needs. The stuff he knows. I'm a sorcerer. I need to know where my DC is. I need this. I need this. I need this. I want to have a decent tracking tool for, what's my next feat. So when we're playing Pathfinder, he built I want to know this stuff. So I'm writing this shit down. And I find his character sheet, like, man, that's a lot of crap. Holy cow, man, really? You need all that stuff? And he's like, no, it just helps. It helps me focus and helps give everything I need right where I want it. And I think I love some of the minimalist stuff, but I tell you, as long as I think, like you said, there's that if you can get the balance, but wow, that's really cool. It's got gorgeous art and beautiful borders and scroll work and blah, blah, blah. I've seen some of the sheets and tried to play with them. Like, wow, this doesn't have any room. I can't write +5 on this line. That's, because I don't have the dot micron pencil to write on this damn thing. It's too small.
GURPS.
GURPS.
That was my experience with one of the GURPS character sheets.
Really?
Yeah. They were like, it was just too much on it. Too many things. Yeah. One of the other things that we didn't mention, which could be tied to aesthetics, is theme of the game.
Yeah.
So if I'm running an espionage game and I've got a character sheet that looks like an actual dossier, right, with a picture of the person, and it goes into something you would rip out of an FBI file.
Yeah, that's cool.
Then it also kind of has a sense of immersion, I think, that would complement.
It does, and that's
the full package.
And we've talked about your con game at home, and that's a piece of like, wow, that'd be really cool for a con game. That would be really cool at home too,
dude.
And
Carl Kiesler, man, character
Jesus.
sheets on 8 tracks.
Yeah,
for Savage Worlds.
Yeah.
That's free. Or the bubble pack cardboard pieces.
Yes.
Right. So what I'm talking about, Carl. I don't know if he listens to us or not, but I follow him and here and there. But he's a graphic artist by day. And he's actually done work for Pinnacle on the new Savage Worlds. I think he did the actual layout to the new rulebook.
Okay.
But Carl does set pieces and miniatures. But when he did his con game, which is Goonies meets the Ghostbusters, he actually took like the old Kenner Star Wars based kind of bubble packs, ripped off it would be like you ripped off the plastic and removed the miniature, but he used that cardboard as the character sheet, but he themed it as Ghostbuster or Goonie. It would have the character sheet, like a character name, as if you were buying the miniature in the store, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it was Star Wars, it would say Darth Vader, and then on the back would be all the stats.
I like that. I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Another one that actually is your dungeon world and a lot of PBTA ones, your playbooks.
Yes.
One of the cool. I'm not a PBTA like rule set guy. However, you look at the character sheet, right? It's got all the stuff. It has your starting moves, your alignment, your alignment good. Endanger yourself to heal another. Okay, cool. It gives you. It's got a blurb in there, so help. Evil, harm another to prove superiority to your church or god. Okay, race, dwarf. You are one with stone. Okay, neat. It's got this stuff in it. Bonds, because that's integral to that game. This, the deity piece. I'm looking at the cleric sheet here, right? So it's got deity, divine guidance, commune, cast a spell. These are the starting moves you have. Those playbooks. One of the things that people really like about PBTA games, at least the folks I've talked to, they love the playbooks because boom, I have this. This is everything I need to run my character. Everything's right freaking here. Done. I don't need to look up a lot. It's all right here. And I think that's some of the joy that people have with that system, at least when I've talked to folks about it. They love the fact that everything's right there and they can just play. They don't have to reference a book to look up, how many square feet does a fireball affect? What's the range? Oh, wait, this is Rollmaster. So lightning bolt, is that from my fingertip or from the eyeball to the what now? Yeah, it's just right there. And I think there's something really powerful about that. And the way that Dungeon World, especially, I'm looking at that character sheet right now. I like the way they've done that. I think that's pretty cool.
There are electronic character sheets that offer a lot of interaction, which helps out with, like, Brad could, if you've got that fireball spell selected, you could click on that and it could tell you the diameter, radius, the saving throw.
One of the main reasons I like using Roll20 for online D&D games is because the character sheet input.
Yeah.
Because it's there, I can say longsword, click, brick, it gives me die roll, gives me damage, bam to bam to bam to bam, adds my mods for me, does all that stuff in one go. That's pretty damn cool. So when you're playing online games, sometimes I generally don't care if people roll the dice or they want to use electronic dice. It doesn't bother me. But if you're in a roll the dice at the table so everyone can see it, in your online gaming, having the character sheet there allows everything using that mechanism. Again, it's kind of like all things entailed. It's all right there. That's pretty cool. Like, that sheet is interactive enough. You click on it, boom, it gives you results for the thing you're trying to accomplish, which is pretty freaking awesome. That's very cool.
Character sheets are awesome.
They are. I honestly think more people should make them for themselves.
Yeah.
And you can make a gorgeous character sheet and someone says, oh, you should post that up. You do it if you want. But seriously, gamers out there, make some cool character sheets for yourself. If for your game system, you might be like, wow, this sheet would be really cool if only it had X. If you've got the time, you can do it. It doesn't have to be gorgeous. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just needs to be functional for you.
My buddy Jeff, he creates his own booklets.
Yeah, I've had people do that. Yeah.
Puts his character sketch in there, sketches it all out. And he's always like, oh, I got to show you my new character, Sean. And it's not his character. It's the booklet, the little, look at what I did. Look at this.
That's cool, man.
Look what I can do. Look what I can do. Like, yeah, that's
Amber
great,
Diceless actually gives you points for doing that.
Wow.
Character build points. Sketching out characters, keeping notes, doing stuff like that. You get points to build your character.
Look at that. Build right into the mechanics of the game.
Absolutely. But honestly, I think, Judge Brandon, to go back to your question, I think as long as the character sheet enables effective play, right? When I say effective play, I think about Mr. Deschain's latest complaint that he had around the 5e group. They were having a hard time trying to figure certain things out. And Tim's a hell of a game master, so it's not like Tim doesn't know what he's doing, right? And I'm like, man, and I told him, I said, next time I see him, if I don't see him at Game Hole, I'll see him at GaryCon. I want to ask him some more details on it, because I'm wondering if it's one of those things where if if a character sheet has a lot of options and things on it, it's not very clear. How do you make something very easy for the new player? Even if they're not a new gamer, but I am new to Sean and Brett's amazing spy game. How do I, on this character sheet, not just graphically, but how do I make it so that whoever's playing Sean and Brett's amazing new spy game looks at it and knows what they're supposed to do? So one of Sean and my constant complaints is, what do I roll to hit? Oh, for fuck's sake. Are you kidding me? We've been rolling the same thing. Well, there's a lot of action and a lot of different things happening. You're trying to grasp and handle all this stuff. And you look at the character sheet, and if it's not very clear,
throw the D20 at their head and go roll this one.
Roll this one.
This is the one you want to roll.
Oh,
boom, thwack.
Oh, always with the hitting.
Do you want to play it where it lies?
Nice. Classic.
Yeah, but the beginner boxes though, Brett, especially for Fantasy Flight games, Star Wars, the beginner boxes are super awesome that way. They start out with okay, your character, right? Here's the sheet, they're pre-gens, and then here's how it works, and then you flip the page when you level up, and it'll tell you what happens, how many points you get, and then how to allocate those and how it increases the little bubbles or changes from green to yellow. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're good.
I remember basic role playing. I'm looking at one of those character sheets they had, which is the engine behind like Call of Cthulhu and such. They looking at, there was the basic role playing had a 2-pager, and they had like a note card size. Has your character's name, strength, con, size, intelligence, power, blah, blah, blah. And then skills: climb, first aid, hide, jump, listen, sneak, spot, hidden, throw. Weapons section, shield, gear. It's like a note card. Super easy for a con game. Or even for just a group that like, look, I just need simple stuff, I think the simpler and easier to follow you can make the character sheet, the better off you're going to be. And honestly, sometimes I think the best way to do it is to roll your own. Zip zap that sucker.
Zip zap that sucker. Roll your own.
So we've been talking for a while about it. So folks out there, if you have a character sheet you love, if you've got a game system you really like, but you're like, man, their character sheets suck, I would use this other one. There are some crappy character sheets out there. We didn't have time to get into some of that. But if people have something you love, you hate, or somebody out there is making amazing character sheets, tell us about it, and we'll be happy to point people in that direction.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
Let's move on, man.
All right. Roll. All right. Got a few this week. Some are actually topic related.
Nice.
We'll start out with Mike Myler. Mike dropped us a line and a note about his upcoming Kickstarter. Mike, no need to come on the show, buddy. We will put the Kickstarter out there. It's coming in October 2019. He's been doing freelance for quite some time, and he's putting out Vast Kavia, which is a campaign setting of his. We'll put a link to the website. You can sign up to get notified about the Kickstarter, and you might even hear him on a podcast or two. So check out Mike.
Sweet.
Second one, Mad Irishman Productions. I used to go to this site all the freaking time, and this thing is still out there, and it's still got the character sheets out there.
Uh-huh.
So if you need a character sheet, probably a lot of older games. I don't even know if 5E's on there, but he hasn't let it die. And so I'm always a big fan of the Mad Irishman.
I'm seeing Dungeons & Dragons basic first, second, third, and fourth. I did not see a fifth.
It's the stopped at fourth.
Warhammer Fantasy, Wheel of Time, Torg.
Yeah, he's got a few.
Star Trek Lug, Star Trek FASA, Star Frontier, Spycraft.
Okay.
Space 1889.
Some of them represent official sheets and some are tweaked. So check that out. Then there is RPG Sheets. That also is a little dated because I don't think it has 5E, but there is a butt ton. And I think they're all kind of official sheets, actually, at RPG Sheets. I could be mistaken, but, if there's a game out there that was released, I don't know, 7 years ago and earlier, they've got a probably character sheet on that website.
And go out to Dyson Logos. He's got cool sheets and links to other people who are making stuff too. So
I'm sure Brett will put that in the die roll.
I probably will do that. Yeah, you know what? I'm a solid guy. I'll do that. I'll do that right now.
There you go. There's other resources that if you want a sheet for a particular game, you can usually go to that publisher's website and you can get that and download it and you'll be fine. But those are some of the sites that we just generically, you could pick from a variety of different systems and games and download from there. And then we'll have a link in the show notes for Jerry Steffik's Memorial Game by Corey Welch, so you can get more information on that if you want to volunteer or help out, and where to find all that information. So I think that is it, right?
Yeah,
Brett?
I think we're good, man.
Oh my gosh. What are we talking about next week, Brett?
So next week I want to talk about I jokingly call "Why So Serious," the old Joker comment. But RPGs can be some pretty serious stuff, right? And I just want to talk about like the overall impact and so forth, and how impressive RPGs are. And this actually stems from a note that someone had dropped to Sean and I a while back, kind of hit us pretty important kind of stuff, and I just want to talk about that a little bit. So I think it'd be not overly heavy and crazy, but I think something worth talking about.
I mean, this is gaming in BS. I mean, how serious are we going to get about serious RPGs? About being serious
I think
about RPGs?
What I just said is probably as serious as we'll get.
Probably.
We'll see what we can do with it.
Well, excellent. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yes, thank you all.
We didn't mention the review we got.
No, we did get a 3-star.
We did get a 3-star.
It was very nice.
It
was
wasn't
very nice. The biggest
Yes.
problem is that Brett has a potty mouth sometimes, and
the person said that there was a co-host that swore too much.
that'd be me.
And they literally said, I won't mention which co-host, you be the judge.
Yeah, that would be me.
So,
I know me. I've seen me do it.
but they said, they were willing to come back and listen again. And they knew we were explicit. They knew, but they said, but the thing is, they're not Howard Stern. They're an RPG podcast, and they listen with their kids. So it was good to know.
That's good. It is good.
It is good. It's a little strange. The only reason it's a little strange for me is because we are explicit.
Mm-hmm.
We don't say it at the beginning of the show, but I put it out on Twitter and said, "Hey, maybe we should put the beep machine in."
And we were soundly said no. Don't you dare.
A lot of people said no.
Don't you dare beep anything.
They like Brett dropping F-bombs.
Hey.
They appreciate
it. And who the fuck are we to not give our listeners what they want? There we go. No, seriously, I think I wanted to think I was getting better at it. Insofar as I think I'd toned it back. Sometimes when I get excited, it's a habit, and it's not a good habit.
Yeah.
And it's a habit. When I get excited, it gets worse.
If it was a problem, like if it was a problem with me,
I would have heard.
And Brett having that would be a problem. I would have told Brett, like, hey man, you need to tone that shit down. But so anyways, it was interesting. If they come back and they listen to this episode and they're like, oh my God, they're talking about me. I took it very much in stride. It was
absolutely.
It was a constructive review.
Yeah, it was nice. They didn't say, wow, these guys are a pack of jerks, and one of them's foul mouth jerk, and
it
blah,
wasn't
blah, blah.
Mud Skipper.
It wasn't Mud Skipper. He hates us.
It was not Mud Skipper.
But honestly, our goal is not to offend anybody or hurt anybody's feelings.
No.
So,
but we've had other people say, hey, I got kids.
Yeah, we are a little bluey. So
Bluey?
Bluey.
Is that what it's called?
Blue. Yeah, working blue. We work a little blue.
Is that what? I didn't know that was a term.
Yeah, working blue. It's an old comedy thing.
Working blue.
Yeah, working blue.
Huh. Now I learned something this episode.
Yeah. Oh, see, there you go.
Huh. Okay, well. Hey, so anyways, we're going to keep on keeping on. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. I'm one of your hosts, Sean.
And I'm Brett. Good night and good game and all.
Yeah, good night and good game and all.
God damn it.
Yeah. This episode of Gaming in BS brought to you with the help from the following BSers. Graham Minert, Corey Wynn, Hawk Sparrow, Larry Hout, Mark Tasaka, Pure Mongrel, Chris Steele, Ron Bishop, Thomas Hook, Wayne Humphrey, Craig, Laramie Wall, Dan LaValle, Jason Hobbs, Sky, Roger Braslett, John Hammersley, Old School DM, Perry Besor, Michael Dinos, Jim Fitzpatrick, Christopher Gray, Bruce Cunnington, John Kayward, Corey Gonzalez, Eileen Barnes, Robert Nemeth, Niall Diamond, Angus Howard Bishop, Stephen Dragonspawn, Mark Anthony Benedetti, Eric Salzweedle, Trevor Davis, The Closet Gamer, Jeff Goad, Aaron Coleman, Ray Otis, C.W. Mellencamp, Craig Huber, Rich Wishon, Old Scoozer Role Playing, Jared Rasher, Andy Hall, David Baylog, Harrigan, Chad Glayman, Finnell, Marco Froelich, Lord Tentacle, Joe Swick, Curtis Takahashi, Josh Wallace, Kevin Lovecraft, Andy Olson, Tony Sugarloaf Baker, Jeff Seifert, and Aaron Ralia. Did you know that if you sign up at the $1 level at our Patreon at gamingnbs.com/Patreon that you get everything early to include the episode? Head on over to that web address and consider chipping in a buck. Thanks, BSers! This has been a Litterbox Studio production.